guys, so this video is about fat shaming. A lot of you have seen Nicole Arbour's video, Dear Fat People, and a lot of you have seen the previous video that I posted where I kind of did a parody of it. But in that video, I didn't really fully express myself and how I felt about the situation. I just kind of poked fun. And part of that was because a lot of people have been making responses, and part of that was just because I was so irritated by the video that I couldn't really give a heart-to-heart at the moment. I just wanted to say something funny and move on, and I feel like I kind of made a few points in that video, but this one is more of an extension of that because I had a lot of people commenting and requesting that I talked about it in a little bit more detail. If you haven't seen my last video or her video, I'll leave both of them in the comment section below, but I'll also be showing clips of hers throughout this one as I comment on it, starting with this one.
Dear fat people.
Some people are already really mad at this video. What are you gonna do, fat people? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna chase me? Really? You're gonna chase me? It's gonna be like fucking Frankenstein. I can get away from you by walking at a reasonable pace.
Yeah, so she thinks it's funny to say that fat people are slow and obviously cannot chase her because that's somehow making a point about how they should be more healthy. I mean, at the end of this video, she went on a little rant about how I am doing this because I love you. Think of me as your friend, just throwing shit your way. But the thing is you're not their friend. They don't know you. And that's certainly not how I would want any friend of mine to talk to me. I mean, you as a person, looking at you on the outside, are a pretty girl. You're a thin girl. You compare yourself to Barbie, obviously. You have Barbie in your end card at the end of your videos. And I'm going to avoid going on the rant about how Barbie is an unrealistic body type and how people have these standards that they're never going to meet in magazines and Photoshop and all of that. I'm not going to go on that rant right now. I'm going to stay on the topic of your video. The fact is that you are not somebody who is probably having to deal with image issues. Now I know that I have seen hate comments about the way you look on your video. Well, not that video because you disabled comments and ratings on that video, but other videos people are choosing to vent their frustrations towards you, and some of them obviously are insults towards your image. But at the end of the day, let's face it, they're just mad at the things that you're saying and they're using ad hominems to bring you down. It's not really that effective. I know whenever I get comments like that, it doesn't really bother me because I see a troll. Now I'm gonna level with you on this one, Nicole, if you're watching. I mean, whenever I first started making YouTube videos, wasn't the nicest person. And I wouldn't necessarily put a disclaimer at the beginning of them saying how this doesn't apply to all Christians. It doesn't apply to all people who are religious. It applies to people who think hateful thoughts. Now a lot of people are probably going to say that you did, in some sense, give a disclaimer saying that it doesn't apply to everyone, but then you quickly followed it with saying that obesity isn't a disease, which it is.
And if there's people watching this with a specific health condition, this is not aimed at you. Obesity is a disease? Yeah, so is being a shopaholic.
Comparing it to shopping? Really? You can't really just look at someone who's overweight and know that it's because of a health condition or know that it's because of, like you say, a lack of diet and exercise. So whenever you go throughout this video and you say some of the really hateful things that you say, which I'm going to comment on later, you're judging someone purely on the way that they look. You don't know why they are the way that they are. You don't know their personal struggles. You don't know their emotional life, what has gotten them to this situation. You don't know what their health conditions are. You're simply saying, this person's fat and that's gross. That's what you're saying. So regardless of whether or not you're trying to exclude the certain percentage of people, it doesn't matter. That's not plastered on their forehead. Sorry, I have a thyroid condition. All that you can see when you look at them is that they're overweight. And I'm sure a lot of people have insecurities about that because of people like you. I'm sure that people who go on airplanes and are overweight already have this fear of being judged, of sitting next to someone and fearing that that person is somehow irritated with them for being who they are. And it's because of people like you saying things like this.
Oh look, it's Fat Family, and Jabba the Sun sits right beside me. I just lost my shit. His fat was on my lap. It was actually on my lap. I took the handle, I squished it down, and I said, my seat, your seat. I actually took his fat and I pushed it into his seat, and I held it. He was fine. He was just fat. Watching a movie. No. Make better choices.
Make better choices. He was fine. How do you know? And even if this person was overweight because of bad choices, do they really deserve someone like you going on a rant about how disgusting it was and how horrible your life must be to have to sit next to the likeness of them on a plane? Like I said, people who are overweight and have to deal with that situation probably already have these insecurities when getting on a plane, and your exaggerations of a story like this aren't helping. And yeah, exaggeration, I highly doubt that you had to shove down the handle and hold his fat for the duration of the flight. That's ridiculous and insulting. And the thing that pisses me off the most about a lot of this is that you are totally unapologetic at all. I mean, so many people make response videos to you telling their personal stories and telling you how this has hurt them, how it's hurt people that they know. And you still can't find it within yourself to maybe admit that possibly you fucked up. Yeah, obesity is a problem in a lot of countries, especially America. We deal with it a lot. Do I think that that's a good thing? Of course not. Do I wish people would make better health choices so that they would live longer and be happier? Of course I do. But what I'm not gonna do is sit there and say this.
And they complain, and they smell like sausages, and I don't even think they ate sausages, that's just their aroma. They were so fat that they're that standing sweat fat. Crisco was coming out of their pores like a fucking Play-Doh fun factory.
Yeah, that is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen someone say in a video on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of crap on the internet. Those insults are not funny. It's not funny. It's not helping you make a point at all. What it is doing is making people feel horrible about themselves. You're reinforcing this negative stereotype of people who are overweight being lazy, being unclean. It's not okay. What you did is not okay. And you should probably say something at some point about how you're sorry. What you shouldn't do, on the other hand, is brag on Twitter about how many new subscribers you're getting because of all of this attention. What you shouldn't do is make a video about how no one should be offended. If you're offended by this, then you're pretty much weak and just a keyboard warrior. What you should do is admit that you were fat shaming. As much as you don't want to admit that that's a thing that exists, it's exactly what you were doing.
Fat shaming is not a thing. Fat people made that up. That's the race card with no race.
Yeah, but I couldn't fit into a store. That's discrimination.
No. That means you're too fat and you should stop eating.
That means you're too fat and you should stop eating. Let me tell you something. When people feel shamed for being fat, it's not because they feel like they're being discriminated against because they can't get into a store, because they can't physically fit themselves into a building. It's because people are passing judgment on them and being assholes based on their size, like you.
Fat shaming. Who came up with that? That's fucking brilliant. Yes, shame people who have bad habits until they fucking stop. Fat shaming.
No, actually that's a horrible idea. A lot of people who have issues with overeating do it because they're unhappy. The way to get them motivated to do what they already know they need to be doing is not by being condescending, is not by telling them that they're gross and comparing them to something that you can smush and making fun of them on planes and telling them that they smell like Crisco or whatever it is. It's horrible things that you said. That's not the way to motivate someone. Understand that they're a real person and that there are feelings involved, and don't insult them. Motivate them, encourage them, tell them facts, show them that you're concerned. All of those things are fine, but what you did is not fine.
Body positive. If you want to be positive to your body, work out and eat well. That's being positive to your body. Isn't it ironic that it's taking a blonde girl to explain shit?
Yes, thank you, Nicole, for shining this ray of knowledge at everyone, because no one knew that diet and exercise was important. People who are overweight probably are shocked at this information because they've never heard it before and didn't know it on their own. They needed someone like you to tell them in a condescending way.
Are you gonna tell the doctor that they're being mean and fat shaming you when they say you have fucking heart disease?
Hi, I'm Dr. Glenn, and today I'm here to tell you that you have fucking heart disease. Yeah, I think I would call that doctor an asshole. But based off of the short time I spent in medical school and the time I did spend actually treating patients, I know that no one would actually do that, because this may be shocking to you. There's a way to communicate important things to people without being horrible.
Maybe I'm a little jealous that you get to eat whatever you want. Yes, genetics plays a part in things to a degree.
Okay, so you wish you could eat anything you wanted, and then you say, okay, well maybe a small part of it has to do with genetics. let me tell you something. A big part of it has to do with genetics. I mean, I'm not the healthiest person. I don't really exercise as much as I should, and I don't really eat that great. I have a fast metabolism. I'm not going to use that as a platform to stand up on a little pedestal and act like I'm better than everyone else, because I know that those are my genetics. I have other issues that I deal with that maybe some other people don't, but that is not one of them. But it is for a lot of people. And that's something that you should be sympathetic towards. Just because it's not something that you might be struggling with, it doesn't mean that it's not something really difficult for a lot of people. I mean, I know people were affected by your video. So whether or not you think they should be offended, they were. And I know people who, you know, they look in the mirror and even if they're not that overweight, they see something that they don't love. And they have body image issues. And you're not helping that. You're reinforcing this stereotype and negative stigma of people that make them feel like they're not good enough. That's just gonna make people dive back into a worse depression that could lead them to overeating even more if that's one of the things that they do to cope, which is a common thing for a lot of people. It doesn't matter how many people they have in their life telling them that they're beautiful, that they're fine, to not listen to people like you. It doesn't really matter sometimes whenever you're the person who's feeling that way, because all you can think about, all you focus on, is that one person who told you you weren't good enough. That one person who told you you were gross or disgusting or didn't live up to their standards. I mean, like, your video made me feel like you were the popular kid sitting at the table making fun of all the losers over there and like reveling in it and taking pride in the fact that you're putting them down. I just want to help them not be nerdy and unpopular and lame. So I'm going to make fun of them. I'm going to point out your braces, and I'm going to tell you that you're stupid because I just want to help you, you know, bring awareness to you, because you might not have known that you looked that way or that people didn't like you, but now you know. I'm going to put it in your face. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments section below. Like it if you agree, share it everywhere, and if you have gone through a situation where people have put you down, it doesn't necessarily have to be about weight, it can be about anything. If you want to share your stories in the comment section below, and if you guys want to say positive things and lift each other up, let this comment section be about positivity and helping each other out, because there's too much negativity in the world right now, and it's really sad. So I hope you guys liked it. All my social media links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.